What is going on? So we're going to be starting a new video series called Trucker from Nothing. So I have a job opportunity with Prime Trucking that I'm going to be pursuing, and I have been thinking about becoming a semi-truck driver for a while, and finally decided to go for it. And when I was thinking about it, I was getting a lot of back and forth on what you actually needed to do, what companies actually wanted, what the experience was really like a uh, going through a CDL school ran by a trucking company versus actually paying for CDL school. While there are state subsidies and stuff for CDL schools, Unfortunately, I made too much money not too much money, but because I was employed in my state, you have to be unemployed to qualify. So, in my state, it was going to be roughly like $7,000 to $10,000, something like that, like something enough money that I didn't have on hand. Anyway, so I'm going to be working with Prime. So I started the job application process. You send in your job application like any other job. Because it is a DOT job, they ask a lot more questions. And what I mean by that is that, like, if you apply to Walmart or something and you don't have work history, or you have previous work history and those people aren't answering, not a big deal. Walmart doesn't care. Prime cares. So I've been going back and forth with the recruiter, getting all of my references in to actually call them back. All of them called besides one local company. I did work for 3 large companies, and they all answered. They have HR departments and everything. The local company that I worked for was an auto mechanics garage. I was a mechanic for a while, and he flat out refused their calls. I called him, explained to him the situation. He said he would call them back, and still refused and did not call them. I have gotten that all squared away, and the way that we got it squared away is I sent in my W-2s from that year to show that I actually worked there. So we're squared away there. Now, before you go to driver orientation, if you decide to go this way, you need to get your CDL permit first. Because of what's going on right now, it's been very hard for me to get an appointment at the DMV to do my CDL permit test. I will be doing that in the next few weeks, and then the week after, so I'm scheduled for the 31st, August 31st. It's like August 7th today, 7th or 8th. So August 31st, I have my appointment. That was the earliest date I could get, and then then September 7th is my orientation. So I basically am getting my permit. I'm working I'm working 2 days after that at the job that I currently have, and then I've filed for vacation and everything. I'm going to use my vacation days, and before I leave on vacation, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. Now, the company that I work for is really cool about it. I spoke to my supervisors. They've told me that if it doesn't work out when I go there for the schooling or whatever, that they'd take me back, so it's not really a big deal there. So I'll get my permit, then I have to ship out. Now, as far as orientation goes, hopefully, I've heard a lot of horror stories about people showing up for orientation and then having problems with not having their actual work information verified or background checks and stuff like that. Hopefully that's all taken care of. You need 2 other things. You need a birth certificate with the raised stamp, so not a copy, and you need a long form physical paperwork. Because I'm a tow truck driver already, I actually already have one of those. If you're not, then I believe you either need to go before you go to the place, or you get a DOT physical once you're there. I did read over the orientation thing, and it did say that you get a DOT physical once you arrive, so maybe regardless of if you have the medical card already, they're still going to give you a physical. So take that as you may. I would definitely ask your recruiter. It may be different for different companies. I'm hoping that I can just bring mine and skip that part. And of course, you'll have to do a drug test once you get there. As far as orientation goes, with Prime, it is 3 to 4 days of orientation, and then it is 2 to 4 weeks of training. Training, from what it seems like, is not on the road. It seems like it's just like classroom or in the yard stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Because I drive a tow truck now, I think I'll be okay with the driving part. I am a little worried about the pre-trip. Mostly just because there's a lot of stuff to check, and obviously if you miss stuff, that's not good. So I'm a little worried about that, but not a huge amount. Unfortunately, I'm more of a visual learner. Sorry that I'm laughing. I have a ferret who's very active and very funny. I'll show you him later. So yeah, a week, essentially 3 to 4 days in the orientation, and then you're doing training. While all this is going on, you are not at home. Unless, I guess maybe if you live close enough to one of these places, you could go home every day. For me, I'm closest to let's say it's Pittston, Pennsylvania. It's about a 4.5 hour drive, so I'll have to drive out there. If you don't live near Pittston, Pennsylvania, or rather, if you don't have a vehicle, they did say that they were buying bus tickets. They have postponed that right now due to, what's going on in the world. Unfortunately, they're not doing that. They do shuttle you from the hotel that they pay for. They do provide you 3 meals a day, so that's nice. And during training, you will get I'd like to say it's a $200 voucher. Not voucher, but they don't pay you, but they give you an interest-free loan of $200 a week. That's supposed to be used only for food and not to be sent home for loans. Thankfully, I have quite a bit of money saved up from my current job. I have about, I think I have $4,000 liquid cash in my bank account, not in my savings account or emergency fund or anything. So I have plenty of money to cover bills for a while. So I'm not super concerned about that. But so you ship out for that. They'll do that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. The recruiter I'm working with, his name is Derek. He's a very, very nice guy. One other thing that I will say is that they are very active. It's not like putting in an application for Walmart where they call you once and then you just either show up or you don't for your interview. I have had multiple phone calls with him. He answers my emails right away. As my date gets closer, he says he'll probably contact me once a day to make sure I'm still good to go and everything. They definitely feel more involved with you and they actually care about you than any small company that I've ever dealt with. Or rather, any employer that I've ever dealt with. Not small companies, because when I did work for that small company, he was a great guy. So that's where we're at right now. Trying to think if there's anything else going on, really. So that's where we're at. I think my next video CDL related will be probably when I first arrive to the hotel, if there's anything interesting going on that day. But most likely there probably won't be, so the next video I'll probably get is first day after orientation. I don't know when all that stuff went. So feel free to look forward to these videos. I'm hoping that this will help somebody else who's interested in who's interested in becoming a CDL driver this way and is interested more in the process. Because from the information that I found out there, it was very mixed back and forth. And basically everybody said if you had the money to go and pay for CDL school. The one other thing I want to mention is that Prime did not require a 2-year commitment. A lot of places are requiring 1.5 or 2 years. Prime only required a 1 year, and they seem to pay more than the other companies that I was looking at. So if you're looking to get into CDL trucking and you can pass all the background checks, and you have a good work history and you know that your references and employers will actually respond to calls, I think Prime's probably a better choice than the other ones from what I had heard from others. But that's all for today. I hope that you guys are interested in this series, and I hope to talk about this more in the later. And for anyone who was following my scooter series, unfortunately, because I'm going to be hopefully taking this job, There will be a lot less scooter videos. You don't get that much home time. When I am on home time, I may put out a video, but I'm not going to guarantee that. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend.